Hello! I hope everybody's doing well. It is kind of stormy here, kind of windy here in northeastern Pennsylvania. And so I'm hoping, it looks like I am live. It looks like we're good to go. It's been really nice, and now today it's super windy and my internet didn't want to work. But I think that we are okay and that we are finally good to go here. So just as usual, I'm going to pull this up on my laptop so I can interact with you guys. So I'm Lynnea. If you haven't ever been to one of the Live with Lynneas on the ThermOweb YouTube channel, I'm Lynnea Hollendonner. And today we are going to be crafting with some reverse confetti goodies. So this is one of their new stamp sets that I'm going to be using today. This is the Home for the Holiday stamp set. Isn't it super duper cute? And then I also grabbed this Warm Hugs. This was a previously released die set, but it's super cute. And so I thought that we were going to use this today. Okay, so today's live video is, usually I like to do quick and simple, easily mass producible cards. Today's is a little bit more, I guess you could say, tedious, but I really love the background that I am able to create with this technique. So we're going to go ahead and just get started. I will be using a variety of ThermOweb products. I have Glitz Glitter Gel, and it's the gold Glitz Glitter Gel. I have, I think this is just red. Yes, just red Deco foil transfer sheets. And we're also going to be using some emerald green flock transfer sheets. So I have a traditional Christmas color scheme here to do today. So let's go ahead and get started. I usually stand to create, but I'm going to sit because today I need to be able to get my head kind of right and see exactly what I need to be doing. So here we go. This is 1/4 inch easy tear tape, and all I'm going to do is just create a striped background on my card. This is kind of going to be a peppermint stick type of background, and then I'm going to step this up a little bit, and I'm going to show you how to be kind of creating a faux stenciled look. So to start, I'm just going to tack this onto my workstation very quickly, just so that my paper doesn't shift around. Let's see here. Let's grab, you guys should still be able to see that. Yes. So I'm working on a grid mat, and I'm working on a grid mat because it's easiest for me. I'm going to be using this 1/4 inch tape and tearing off pieces and putting it at a diagonal and kind of like a 1/4 inch in between. So I've already started because this process takes me a little bit of time to make sure everything is lined up right. All I'm going to do is just like this, just kind of go at a diagonal, lining it up so that it's a 1/4 inch space. So it's going to be a 1/4 inch tape, 1/4 inch of white space, 1/4 inch tape, 1/4 inch of white space. You kind of get the idea here. And all I'm doing right now is just building a background that I can foil. Now, if you have a stencil that is kind of a peppermint stick type of stencil, you can absolutely do this because I'm going to be adding foil. So if you're using a stencil, you can use the Deco Foil Transfer Gel Duo or Blanco, whichever one you prefer. But today I kind of wanted to show you something that can be done easily with something I think we already have in our stash. A lot of us have a double-sided adhesive, and so I thought that this would be a really great idea. And then I'm going to show you how to kind of step this up even more with some Glitz Glitter Gel. And I'm actually going to be using some purple tape as a faux stencil. So I'm just finishing up this tape here. And like I said, this is why I did half of it before I came on camera. I need to silence my phone. I have notifications turned on my phone, so it just told me that I'm live on ThermOweb. But I think we know that. So anyway, like I said, this is kind of a tedious type of background, so I did half of it to start, so that you wouldn't have to sit here and watch me do tape for 30 minutes. So here we go. Here is my background, and I have, like you can see, just little stripes of tape. Now I'm going to go ahead and burnish this on. When you're working with a double-sided tape, I find that it's best to add some pressure, and that really bonds the tape to your cardstock. I'm going to use some nonstick scissors. I always recommend nonstick scissors when working with this easy tear tape, because it's sticky. It's going to stick. That's its job, is to stick. So non-stick scissors, and look at that, it comes right off. Now I'm going to be transferring some foil. Excuse me, because I have tape stuck to my fingers. I'm going to be transferring some foil onto this background. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and grab this red deco foil. And I will get this kind of ready to go so that when I need it, it's ready. I'm going to trim that down to size. I'm going to roll these back up and put them away. Usually when I'm live on here, I create a mess, and I'm not a messy crafter at all. But to save time, I'll just kind of throw the foil to the side and be like, oh, there it goes. But let's roll that up today. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and just remove all of this backer from my stripes of the Easy Tear tape. This part, unfortunately, I couldn't do ahead of time because then I would have exposed adhesive. So unfortunately, you get to see me sit here and peel off the backer to the tape. But the good news is, as you can see, it comes off super duper easily. Oh no, I think we're going to have a visitor. My cat is here. Let's hope he doesn't stick his little paw in the camera frame. Alrighty, one more to go and then we will be done. There we go. Okay. No. Oh, goodness. Okay, let's fix ourselves here. There we go. Okay, so now I have exposed adhesive in this stripe pattern, and I want to transfer this red deco foil onto it. So there's a couple ways that you can do this. If you prefer to lay your adhesive down on the table, you're going to go pretty side up. I like to lay my foil down because it's in the tube, so it has this little bit of a curve to it. So I find it's easiest to lay my foil down, and then I'm going to put my adhesive into the back side of the foil. So whichever way you do it, you want your adhesive to touch the reverse side of the foil. So here we go. I'm just going to put this in. I like to kind of start on one side and then kind of roll my cardstock into it. And that makes it so that I don't get any bubbles. So you can see it's pretty smooth there. Now to transfer this, I used to just kind of sit here and rub my fingers over it. But I found that I would kind of get scratches on my foil because I would accidentally scratch it with my nails. And I don't want to do that anymore. So I have this little trick that I forget who I saw do this. It was somebody on the ThermOweb team that I saw do this about a year ago, and I was like, why isn't everybody doing this? I'm going to run this through my die cutting machine and use the pressure of my die cutting machine to transfer the foil into this adhesive. So I have a piece of typing paper here, and I'm going to put this in my typing paper. You don't have to do the typing paper technique. I do because I'm going to show you my cutting plate. And I think my cutting plate looks like a lot of people's cutting plates where it's kind of gross. And so if my fingernail is going to scratch the foil, my cutting plate is definitely going to scratch the foil. So I have it in a carrier sheet, just a piece of typing paper. And then I'm going to also put my foil side onto my clean cutting plate here. So I'm going down there, and then I will just sandwich this in, and I'm going to run this through my die cutting machine. It's a Gemini, so it makes a little noise. Only takes a couple seconds though. Here it goes, running on through. So while that runs through my die cutting machine, I do want to encourage you guys to ask any questions. If you have questions, ask them. If you would like to see a certain product used, go ahead and throw that comment out there as well. So here we go. Let's check out our foiled background. I'm just going to slowly peel this back. And look at that. Isn't it perfect? I missed one little spot there, but that doesn't bother me. One spot's not going to bother me. Look at that. Pretty, pretty, pretty. And so this is a fabulous background just on its own. And I always say, don't throw these away because you can do a lot with the reverse side of the foil. The reverse is just as shiny as, you know, the positive. So I'm going to set that aside. And now we're going to do something to step up this background. I'm going to use purple tape. This is the 1/2 inch size of the purple tape. And I'm going to create a diagonal stripe pattern once again, but going the other way. And I'm going to use this as a a stencil of sorts. It's going to be a very thin stencil. You know, the material that stencils are made out of is thicker because it's that plastic. So your glitz glitter gel that I'm going to put over here is actually going to dry quite quickly. So I'm just going to go ahead and, again, I'm using my grid mat, and I'm just going to create a diagonal stripe pattern in the opposite direction of the one that I already used. So this time, since this is a 1/2 inch tape, I think I'm going to go a 1/2 inch wide again. So I have a 1/2 inch of purple tape, 1/2 inch of my cardstock, 1/2 inch of purple tape. You know, you get the picture here. And this is just going to take me just a few moments of our time. Let's see, 1/2 inch here. Oh, that's not quite long enough. Let's scoot that down. And this is just going to be like a makeshift stencil. Excuse me. I apologize that I wasn't here for the regularly scheduled live last week. I was actually pretty dead to the world, passed out in my bed. I don't get sick often, but when I do, it's like I'm sick. And so you did not want to see me last week. Not at all. It was just a bad cold. The weather here, I live in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and the weather here has been absolutely crazy. We did not have normal November weather. It has been cold. It got to like 30 degrees, which is normal November weather, absolutely normal. But then it warmed up to 70, and then it was 30, and then it was 70. And so I think it was just the massive fluctuations in weather patterns kind of had me down for the count last week. But we are here this week, and we'll be back again in 2 weeks. I don't know what we'll be working on in 2 weeks. So if you have specific requests of something you would like to see, go ahead and shout that out in the comments, and we will do our best to accommodate. I'm just going to finish this up here. I'm going to mask off that little corner. I don't know if that's exactly straight. Let's see. That looks better. And just a reminder, when you are working with this new updated form of purple tape, it's a pressure activated tape. So it's a little bit different than the original formula. In my opinion, I like it just as much, but it is pressure activated, which is a little bit different than the original. You do need to just give it a press, and then it'll be stuck to your tape, or to your cardstock rather. Goodness. Okay, so here we go. Here is my background. I'm going to now use this as a stencil, and I'm going to put some glitz glitter gel over the top. Now you can see, if you've worked with purple tape or masking tape before, this is really thin. So it's not going to give a lot of dimension with the glitz glitter gel, but it's going to give you just enough because you have already this foil in the background. So you're going to mix the foil with the glitz, and in my opinion, I think it's good. I did a test run. I always do a test run for my live videos, not often for my regular YouTube videos, but for my live videos I do, because I don't want to show you something live on camera that's not going to work. So here we go. I have just a little bit of glitz glitter gel. I apologize. That's my son. He's 5. And unfortunately, like I said, the weather has been like 70. And today it's like 30 and rainy and gross. So today was the first day in a long time that he couldn't go outside. And if any of you have 5-year-old children, well, you know my struggle. Because it's been a struggle today. So again, I'm using my stencil pal. Usually my motto is spread it like cold butter on bread. Don't keep going over and over again. But in this case, because my tape is so thin, I'm going in with a very gentle hand. I'm not doing my normal technique where I put it down and scrape real heavy over the top. I'm more dabbing. I hope that you can kind of see that on camera. I'm just kind of dabbing it on. And I know it looks like a lot. It's really, really not. So I'm just going to dab this on, getting all of this covered. And that looks pretty good. Jackson, baby. I promised him that if he was good, because he calls this Mom's learning. He goes, Mom is learning people right now. I said, yes. I told him if he was really good, we'd make chocolate chip cookies. So those are our afternoon plans, our chocolate chip cookies. We haven't made them in a long time because, like I said, it hasn't been normal winter cookie weather. It's been 70 degrees outside, 70, 80. So that's not cookie weather to me. Okay, so now I have a whole bunch of glitz glitter gel on here. And there is some on top of my purple tape. I'm a big fan of not wasting. So I'm going to show you a way that if you wanted to kind of save some of this glitz glitter gel, you can. I'm going to grab my tape and I'll put it here. And I'll just do a couple pieces. As I'm pulling this off, you can kind of see, look at that pretty, it's foily and glittery and all kinds of pretty. I'm going to set this here. Lift this up because let's clean up my work surface because it'll be really sad if I mess up my background at this point. So I'm just going to clean that up. That's why I love the stencil palette. It has that flat edge. You can just scrape it off. And I'm going to do the same thing with this purple tape. I'm just going to take this and scrape it. And then if you wanted to, see there's all that extra glitz glitter gel that you can just put back into your container. I'll show you that one more time just in case you wanted to see. And notice how I'm pulling back my purple tape back onto itself. I have never had this purple tape tear my cardstock, but it's a good habit to get into to kind of pull it back on itself. And you can see here that even though this purple tape is very thin and it's not going to give you, oops, I hope I didn't mess up there. Whoopsies. Even though this purple tape is thin and it's not going to give you the same dimension as a stencil, I mean, look, it still has, there's some lift there. Okay, I'm going to just pull this last one off. And you can see here, I didn't do a good job of the correct positioning of my tape. Good news, I did one last night that looks a whole lot better than this one. But I hope you can see that foil in the background. Look at that texture from the glitz glitter gel. And it has just enough lift that I think it's really pretty. Going to clean that up right there. And the good thing is I'm going to set this aside to dry, but because it's such a thin application, it's not going to take long to dry. Normal glitz glitter gel takes about 30 minutes. When I practiced this a couple days ago, it took me only about 10-15 minutes to dry. And look at that. There's all that extra glitz glitter gel that you can put back into the container. And this little blob that I left out, I should put that back in too. Here we go. And now, just to clean up, I'm going to use a couple of baby wipes. Really, really easy to clean up the glitz glitter gel. And I'm going to give you a tip because I always recommend when you're working with the glitz, when you're scooping it out, when you're putting it back, see how there's all this glitz on the edge of the container? You want to just take a baby wipe and just wipe that off. That's all the waste that I wiped off the container. But by doing this, you're really going to preserve the life of your glitz glitter gel. I see a lot of comments on Facebook about it drying out. That really helps with drying out. To wipe the container, the lid of the container, every time you use it is going to help you get a good tight seal on your glitz glitter gel, and it's going to prevent drying out. Now I'm just going to quickly wipe off this glitz glitter gel off of my stencil pal. This technique, I will say, is a little bit messier than using a stencil, in my opinion. Just because your fingers kind of get into it more with the whole peeling off the tape and everything. And if you know me as a crafter, you know I'm not a messy crafter. I am not one to get inky or to love having glue on my fingers. I wasn't one of those kids in school purposely putting glue on my fingers and peeling it off. I know that was a big thing when I was in school. I don't know if it was for everybody else. But in my school, kind of like dipping your fingers in Elmer's glue and letting it dry was a big thing. Not for me. I was the one in the corner kind of shaking my head and not understanding why these children wanted to be dirty all the time. Okay, there we go. All clean. I used 2 baby wipes and 3 minutes. So that was pretty easy. And now I'm going to grab the one that I did previously and is all dry. And again, it took next to no time. Here it is. See? Isn't it pretty? Again, look at all that foil. And for me, I feel like the glitz glitter gel gets shinier and sparklier as it dries. So that is my dried panel. No stencils at all, just using some of that easy tear tape and purple tape. So really awesome, I think. Let's go ahead and use our flock now because I think it's fun when you can use a whole bunch of different products on one card. This is the emerald green flock. It's a really, really nice pine green color, perfect for Christmas time. I'm going to go ahead and take this Warm Wishes die from Reverse Confetti and just cut a piece of flock. And this is going to be used as my sentiment. So that's one of the things I like to do with flock. I like to die cut it, use it for both backgrounds and for sentiments, because it works just like a piece of cardstock, but it has this extra texture. So it has a little bit of lift, it's fuzzy to the touch, and it's a really I just think it's nice. So let's go ahead and, I set my Glitz Glitter Gel on top of my die cutting machine to dry, so I'm going to go ahead and just pull out my little mini tabletop machine, because this should fit right through it. So when you're die cutting flock, you're going to die cut it just like cardstock. So I'm putting the die down into the pretty side of the flock, and I'm just going to run it through my die cutting machine, and it's going to cut just the same as cardstock. Here we go. It'll pop right out. See, that's so easy. And it has, I hope you can see some of that fuzzy texture. I hope. It's really fun. If you haven't used flock, I definitely recommend you get a couple of colors, because it's super duper fun. Let's grab this garbage out of the way. And now I'm going to start building my card. I went ahead and I die cut a piece of vellum with just a stitch die that I have. And then I also used, let me find that stamp set. Let's see. Home for the Holidays is the name of the stamp set that I used from Reverse Confetti. I sat a couple days ago and I colored some images, because coloring takes me a long time and I didn't want you guys to have to sit here and watch me color. But I took this little tree, I colored that twice and die cut those with coordinating dies. And then I took this little shop here and I made it into a little bakery. There are these little, like you can make it a flower shop. There's a toy shop that fits right in the little window here. But I thought a little bakery would be super cute to go with the warm hugs sentiment. I thought that would just be super duper cute. So I'm going to go ahead and let's see. Here's my iCraft Ultra Bond Liquid Adhesive is my absolute favorite adhesive. And I'm just going to go ahead and I know that I'm going to be hanging off a little bit here, but I cut this piece of vellum because this background is so busy that when I put the warm hug sentiment on there, it kind of got lost. So vellum is one of my big tricks for sentiments. And I'm just going to, let's see, do I want to put, yeah, let's put the bakery behind the sentiment a little bit. And then I'm going to go with the trees. I'm going to tuck those behind. And then I'm going to use my purple tape trick. Where did I put my purple tape? That is the question. Here it is. I'm just going to take a little piece and I'm going to use this so that I can pick up all of my pieces at once. I'm going to put that sentiment to the side for now, and I'm just going to kind of center these up. That looks good, I think. I'm going to take my piece of purple tape, give it a little bit of pressure, and not move my tree as I'm giving pressure. There we go. So now I have one piece instead of 3 separate pieces. And I'm going to go ahead and just add my iCraft Ultra Bond Liquid Adhesive. I'm sorry if you can hear my cats. Oh my gosh, they are like, between my cat and my cats and my kid, this house is a nut house today. And then I can, once again, the benefit of that is just picking those all up at once, centering those. The iCraft Ultra Bond Liquid Adhesive will stay wet for just a minute, giving me time to place that, peel back my tape, and make sure everything looks good. And I think it does. I'm going to go ahead and just do the same thing with this Warm Hugs die. And remember, this is die cut from flock. I have the fine tip on my iCraft Ultra Bond Liquid Adhesive, and that makes it so that, number one, I'm not wasting adhesive, and number two, I can easily get into these little areas without having to do like that dot technique. I can just run my glue bottle, and it's super duper easy. And I'm going to go ahead and add this here at the bottom. And I don't know about you, I like to pick up my die cuts and kind of wiggle them around. I find it a lot easier to hold them out in front of me and look at that than to put it down on a piece of cardstock. I don't know why, I just do. Okay, and then I like to press from the back. And once again, I feel like a lot of adhesives are kind of pressure activated. So I always give pressure with my adhesives. And then see how that vellum makes everything stand out just a little bit more. Now I think this needs a little bit of dimension. What about you? Do you think? I like to add dimension. I wasn't going to, so I didn't have those prepared. Let's reach for these ones because these are what I fell onto first. I have 2 dimensional adhesives that I use all the time. I use the iCraft 3D foam squares, and then I also use these Gina K Designs foam squares. The only difference is that the iCraft ones are super dimensional, and these ones are kind of like a little bit dimensional. So I think a little bit of dimension here is going to be good. That way this card can still super easily go through the mail. Let's see, I wonder if that's going to hold that up enough or if I need to. I think it will. Well, maybe. I tend to go overboard with adhesives, and this is like me controlling my adhesives. Usually I would completely cover this whole back with adhesive. My husband is always asking me, he's like, oh, what are you ordering now? And I'm like, I need some more adhesive. When I order the Ultra Bond, I usually order 2 or 3 at a time because I will use it. It doesn't go to waste. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead, once again, give a little bit of pressure, make sure these are stuck down, and then go ahead and peel back the backing. I like to, when I'm doing foam adhesive, just kind of press into it a little bit and then peel off the backer. They come off pretty easily. I keep my nails short. I've never really been a fan of long nails, but I think long nails in this instance would help peeling off adhesive backers. But I do okay with the short nails. One more, again, just press from the side and peel right off. And then I'm going to go ahead and just add a little dot of the Ultra Bond adhesive. Because I'm gluing onto the foil, which the foil is fine to, you know, use adhesive on, but mostly because I'm on the glitz, and there's not a whole bunch of dimension from the glitz because I didn't use a traditional stencil, but there still is some, and I want to make sure that that's really going to hold. So that's why I add just a little bit of the liquid adhesive. And then I'm going to go ahead and just put this on, doing my best to center that. I think that's pretty center. I hope it is because it's stuck on there. There we go. Give it a press. And that's my card. So there we go. You have 3 ThermOweb mediums on here. You have the Deco foil transfer sheets, the red, see that red shine? You have gold glitz glitter gel. That gives a little bit of texture and dimension. And then you have these emerald green flock, which it's hard to show on camera, but it's fuzzy and it's wonderful and it's warm and fuzzy. There we go. That is it. So I will stay here for another minute in case anybody has questions about the products that I used on this card. These are the reverse confetti. There's a whole collaboration between ThermOweb and reverse confetti happening this week. So if you haven't already checked out the ThermOweb and reverse confetti blog and YouTube channel, I encourage you to do that because this is just a little taste of what you're going to see. And then there's more to come. This collaboration goes this whole week. So definitely check out the design team inspiration on the ThermOweb YouTube channel and blog because there's a lot of cute reverse confetti goodness that you can see. So if anybody has questions, feel free to ask. If anybody has a certain product that you would like to see us use in the future, go ahead and add that as well. If not, I will see you back here in, I think the tentative plan, barring any sickness or anything, is for 2 weeks. So that would put us at the 25th, Wednesday. Same time, 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern. So thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for watching. And thank you for your comments. They really make me feel so happy. And I will see you again really, really soon. Bye, you guys.